Broadcasting live from TMS News Center. This is The Beacon Press, giving you the up-to-date news 24/7. The Beacon Press, voicers of raw and unbiased news sailing across the globe. The Beacon Press, illuminating light for the mass.
Good day, Philippines. Good day, Caloocan. Today is Monday, April 12, 2021, and you're watching The Beacon Press, illuminating life for the mass.
For the headlines.
Vice President Leni Robredo shuts down critics after COVID vaccine allegations. North Korea's dictator Kim shed a tear for apologizing over failed governance. Armed forces take over Myanmar, resulting to a bloody protest. China's hero doctor who was punished for telling the truth about coronavirus died. Philippine export groups demand for financial help from the government.
The Beacon Press, illuminating light for the mass.
VP Leni breaks her silence as she went on Facebook to clarify COVID vaccine allegations. We have Karina Gomez for the updates.
The administrator's supporters and critics get a mix of emotion last Monday, March 1, 2021, after the photo of alleged Vice President Leni Robredo getting a vaccination shot went viral, which exposes that the vaccination is not credible and it's done just for the show. The post caught citizens' attention and made them believe that it was VP Robredo because of its gases in the woman's body composition as well, which really looks like VP Robredo when a person sees it for the first time. Moreover, Pro Duterte blogger Rogando Sasot also shared the said post. Although she did not mention Robredo's name, still, her followers specified that it was really the Vice President. The Vice President gained numerous amounts of comments, reactions, and was criticized even more because of the said post, which shows that her sleeves are not rolled up. The photo was used by the people against her, questioned VP Robredo, and said that the vaccination was part of her hashtag Exena 101. Just a day after the post went viral, VP Robredo clarified that it was not her, and the woman in the photo is Dr. Flor de Liz Zagrana, who is a pediatric surgeon at the Amang Rodriguez Memorial Medical Center, or ARMMC, and she was wearing a bakuna blouse with slits.
Karina, after the Vice President cleared out that she is not the woman on the picture, what did people say about this?
Yes, Mark. After she cleared out her allegations, the blogger then edited her post saying that the woman in the photo is not Leni Robredo. As of now, the Facebook posts have over 22,000 reactions and 5.7k comments. Mark?
Thank you for the updates, Karina. Analysts question the sincerity of North Korea's supreme leader after an apology during pandemic crisis. Nathan Gomez for the details.
The North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un has issued an unusual apology as he shed tears during a speech held in a huge military parade in Pyongyang, North Korea for the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the ruling Workers' Party. In his speech, the dictator paid tribute to the troops for their heroic devotion in response to national disasters and preventing the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus in the country. As a result of the pandemic, North Korea's economy has been dramatically hit due to the closure of all borders to nearly all traffic, including its trade with by far its biggest economic partner, China. In addition, the typhoons and flooding last summer had further threatened their food supplies as well. Over his leadership failings, the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un has issued an unusual tearful apology, telling his countrymen he had failed to adequately rid the people of the difficulties in their lives.
진정 우리 인민들에게 터놓고 싶은 마음속 고백, 마음속 진정은 고맙습니다 이 한마디뿐입니다.
The director of the North Korea division at the Korean Institute for National Unification told the Korea Times that it is important to look at why the dictator has come to shed tears at such an occasion. and underneath his message, one can sense that Kim was feeling a lot of pressure on his leadership. However, some analysts have been questioning the authenticity of his emotions, given the deepening economic crisis, that it might just have been a tactic to project the style of leadership that's compassionate and humane, which Go Myung-yoon, senior research fellow in the Asian Institute for Policy Studies, has to say.
Since taking power, Kim has wanted to portray himself as a sympathetic, caring chairman. He wanted to dramatically highlight that image because the regime has been struggling due to international sanctions and natural disasters.
Nathan Gomez, The Beacon Press. The bloody protests happening in Myanmar after declaring a coup will be up next after a short break.
So hi guys, what's up? It's been a while since we saw each other.
Yup, I miss you all.
Wait, have you guys heard the speculation about our previous classmate Sarah? She aborted her baby.
Oh my god.
Girl, spill the tea.
Fine, so here's the tea. Yes, girls, that's her story.
Jeez, I can't believe she can do that kind of thing. Abortions are cruel and painful. Abortion is not an option and it is not a mother's right to take another life.
Yes, it's a murder, and I really don't understand why there are people who are in favor of this. I believe that every child is a blessing.
Same. Everyone has a right to live.
How about you, Corina? What can you say about this?
Hey, Karina, we're waiting for your answer.
Sorry, but I'm not agree with you all. Every child is a blessing, yes, but that statement is reversible. Before deciding to be a parent, before giving birth, you have to ask yourself first if you're going to be a blessing to your child, right? Additionally, what about those rape cases? To those sexually abused? A lot of people will not get it. They will see it as a murder, they will see it as a filthy sin, but they will never see, feel, and understand the sides of a mother who abort. So yes to abortion.
Hey, Karina, we're waiting for your answer.
Actually, guys, I'm against abortion. Yes, I am.
Yeah, that's why we're friends. I can't imagine if one of us will agree with abortion.
What? We're all same here.
Yes, girl! Same vibe!
The Beacon Press, illuminating live for the mass.
After Misuki's National League for Democracy party won by a landslide vote, the Tatmadaw has declared a state of emergency and caused a large number of deaths. Geran Dakyado for the story.
Military Commander-in-Chief Min Aung Hlaing has taken power, and the military of Myanmar, Tatmadaw, are now back in charge and has declared a year-long state of emergency in the country where it ceased on February 1, 2021. In his first public comments after the coup, Leng said that the military was on the side of the people and would form a true and disciplined democracy.
ရေပေါ်ကာလဆိုင်ရာပြဋ္ဌာန်းချက်များနဲ့အညီဆောင်ရွက်ပြီးစီးပြောလို့ရှိရင်ဖွဲ့စည်းပုံအခြေခံဥပဒေ2008ခုနှစ်နဲ့အညီလွတ်လပ်ပြီးတရားမျှတတဲ့ပါတီစုံဒီမိုကရေစီထူထူရွေးကောက်ပွဲကိုပြန်လည်ကျင်းပပြီးအနိုင်ရတဲ့ပါတီကိုဒီမိုကရေစီစံချိန်စံနှုန်းများနဲ့အညီနိုင်ငံတော်တာဝန်ကိုလွှဲအပ်နိုင်ရေးဆက်လက်ဆောင်ရွက်သွားရမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်
However, the military has imposed restrictions including curfews and limits to gatherings. Security forces have used water cannons, rubber bullets, and live ammunition to try to disperse protesters. Tatmadaw took power after it rejected the November 13, 2020 elections and were demanding for a rerun of the vote, claiming widespread fraud after Misuki's National League for Democracy Party won by a landslide. Aung San Suu Kyi is known as a civilian political leader and Nobel Peace Prize winner. However, international observers said there was no evidence of fraud.
This outrageous assault on the people of Myanmar by the military cannot be allowed to stand.
There's little doubt that the game plan is to try and silence Aung San Suu Kyi, to prevent her having a political future in the country, and to prevent her having any influence on future elections.
Activists and protesters want the military to release Ms. Suu Kyi after being held in an undisclosed location since February 1, 2020 to relinquish power. At least 235 people have been killed and more than 2,330, including some journalists, have been arrested in violent crackdowns by security forces after the military has fiercely repressed protests. Geran Daciado, The Beacon Press.
The death of a whistleblowing Chinese doctor who was punished for trying to raise the alarm about coronavirus has sparked an explosion of anger, grief, and demands for freedom of speech among ordinary Chinese. We have Catherine Stewart to verge upon the story.
Dr. Li Wenyang, an ophthalmologist doctor and the first person who warned us about coronavirus before it became an outbreak, died on February 7, 2020 at 2:58 in the morning. He was reportedly contracted the coronavirus disease while treating a patient. According to Chinese media outlets, Li was under emergency treatment before finally announcing his death. Dr. Li was the one who sent out a warning to his fellow medics on December 30, 2019 that became viral on social media. But weeks later, on January 3, 2020, police arrested him and told him to stop making false comments. He was also told to be quiet by the authorities and forced him to sign a police document to admit that he had breached the law and that he had seriously disrupted social order. His death triggered Chinese citizens, especially when Chinese media censored his death. He was first pronounced dead, then alive, and finally dead again. The hashtag Dr. Li Wenyang dead was the most searched topic on Weibo late Thursday, February 6, 2020, with over 1 billion views and over 1.1 million comments. However, just by Friday morning, it had dropped out of the top 20 trending topics. And King Wafu, who studies Chinese censorship pattern at the University of Hong Kong, told AFP that the ranking seems to be manipulated. Catherine Stewart, The Beacon Press.
The call for financial help from the government by national expert groups will be up next after a short break.
Gusto lang nila umagaw ng gobyerno.
I don't think it deserves any attention.
We are not red tagging you. We are identifying you.
Ingat din po.
Kung wala naman siyang masabi na tama, he just would maybe shut up. Anong human rights? Ako ng sugo. Ako'y mapriso.
Kami ay aktivis! Hindi terorista! We view this as a clear desperation ng AFP at ng Duterte regime para takutin ng mga kabataan.
And it's not a threat, it's a warning.
Hindi po ako rebelde, Mr. Chair. Hindi po ako terorista. Ako po ay isang aktivista.
This reminder is brought to you by this station.
On this day, the first and former president and commander of the Philippine Resistance, Emilio Aguinaldo, issued a proclamation of formal surrender to the United States, calling on all of his followers to give up the fight against the American regime. On the signed manifesto, Aguinaldo stated that, "Let the stream of blood cease to flow, let there be an end to tears and desolation." The lesson which the war holds out, the significance of which I realized only recently, leads me to the firm conviction that the complete termination of hostilities and a lasting peace are not only desirable but also absolutely essential for the well-being of the Philippines. On this day,
Ticket Press, illuminating light for the mass.
PhilExport president and groups of exporters in the Philippines seek financial assistance after the global pandemic aftermath. We have Rica Galliano to give us further details.
Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr., President of the Philippines Exporters Confederation Incorporation, alongside other group of exporters in the Philippines, are seeking more financial support from the government to aid the export sector's recovery from the pandemic-included slowdown.
Early 2021, the country's export target was revised to approximately $106 billion from the original plan of $130 billion as of 2022 by the Export and Development Council under the Philippine Export Development Plan to take into account the impact of the global pandemic and weaker global demand. Meanwhile, PhilExport is pushing for the passage of the legislative measures, for it is seen to be helpful in business and support recovery. Ortiz Luis then said that he is optimistic that the approval of the proposed corporate recovery tax and incentives for enterprises would drive more investments, particularly in underdeveloped regions in the country. Sergio also stated that the stronger economic recovery in the third and fourth quarters this year is premised on the projected rebound in exports that should hasten the return of the Philippines back to pre-pandemic level by the third quarter of 2022. He also said that upgrading the skills of the workforce is needed to adapt to technologies and digitalization. Moreover, the agriculture sector is expected to lead the recovery in exports because of the strong demand for food and natural-based health products. Rica Galliano, The Beacon Press.
The Beacon Express.
Students of the University of Caloocan City, also known as Sisisistas, are once again celebrating a milestone after successfully surviving the second semester midterm examination from April 12 to April 18, 2021. And just a few days after, we interviewed some students about their thoughts regarding the exam and how they surpass it during online classes. And here's what they say.
So, the midterm for this semester is not easy, unlike in face-to-face, because some are experiencing internet problems and we are distracted with the surroundings. But our professors are very considerate. They gave us additional time to finish the examination.
My experience in midterm examination is difficult because it is conducted through online. The questions really requires comprehension and the choices are really confusing because the type of exam that we had is lead type. That is why when exam is approaching, we really need to be prepared.
So one of the difficulty that I've experienced when I'm taking the exam is first the phone that I'm using, because it is downgrade, so sometimes I do experience lag, and also it takes time or a loading when I'm opening the Google form. Second is that the internet connection, especially when you don't have any Wi-Fi and I'm only using a mobile data that is limited. Overall, of taking the midterm exam, you must be in need to prepare and have a plan just in case you experience any technicalities when you're taking it.
For me, there's no major difficulties in taking midterm examination other than not having a review. But personally, as an online learner, I'm struggling with the medium that we use, like Google Forms, because it depends on our internet connection or our data if we could pass it on time.
Seeing students being determined to learn and succeed in life, even though we're going through a rough time this year, makes it more special. Even in the middle of pandemic, students are still eager to learn. And speaking of learning, the University of Caloocan City's Bachelor of Arts in Communications conducted an online webinar discussing timely and relevant topics like journals, understanding Philippine press and its fundamental role in social and political context. That was happened last Monday, April 10, 2021, and it was organized by the sophomore students of the BA Com 2B North Campus, and as well as the media lection, an online lecture with a view towards influence and roles of media in election period. That was happened last Wednesday, April 13, 2021, and was organized by the BA Com 2A South Campus.
Walang pandemya na nakakapigil sa kagustuhan na matuto, sa kagustuhan na mamulat.
The students are also expected to participate in the upcoming webinar, online research, symposium on new media, responsible exploration for today's betterment, which will be held on May 21, 2021. And this webinar is organized by the graduating students. And for the meantime, the link and registration fee is to be announced, so for more inquiry, you can contact Alvira Villanueva. After a year-long roller coaster ride, new normal and blended learning expedition, the school year are then expected to end on June 18, 2021. And these are the information we have gathered for you. This is Karina J. Gomez for Beacon Express.
The Beacon Express.
And here are your latest updates we sailed across the globe. Tune in again to the Beacon Press, your guide to the world of media. This is Mark Landicho, your anchor for today.